Why do you feel so tired when your body still works? Why do your eyes burn, but your soul feels cold? What if I told you you're not lazy? What if I told you your fire didn't die, it's just been unfed? Listen, young warrior. This world wants you weak. It wants you soft, quiet, and lost. But you were born for the battlefield of the soul. You were born with purpose carved into your bones. You were never lazy. You were never broken. No. You are starving for something more. Not food, not rest, not another lazy scroll through fake lives. You're starving for meaning, for mission, for a voice louder than fear, deeper than doubt. You are starving for the call of something eternal. Do you think Socrates sat around all day making excuses? No. He walked straight into death with his head high, because truth was worth more than comfort. Do you think Roosevelt feared pain? He was half dead in body but full alive in soul, because he chose duty over comfort. The same blood runs in you. You were not made to sit. You were made to stand. You were not made to wait. You were made to move. You were not made to watch. You were made to war. You're not weak. You're just starving, okay? Starving for the truth of who you really are. So I ask you, are you ready to feed the fire again? Are you ready to feel your spirit roar? Because in the next breath, I will show you why the world lied to you, and why your power is not gone. It's just asleep. Have you ever felt like something is chasing you, but you can't see it? That pressure in your chest, that quiet voice saying, this isn't who you're meant to be. That's not anxiety, boy. That's your destiny trying to wake you up, but that heavy feeling you carry every morning, that weight on your shoulders when you open your eyes and ask yourself, why do I feel so empty? That's not laziness. That's not depression. That is the scream of your spirit trapped inside a life too small for your soul. You're not slow. You're not broken. You're not weak. You're misaligned. You've been lied to. You've been living in the wrong story. You don't need more sleep. You don't need another day off. What you need is a summons from something divine. You need a mission so strong it makes your chest pound, your legs move, and your mind sharpen like a sword. You don't need more comfort. You've had too much of it already. It's poisoned you, numbed you, softened your edges. Comfort is the enemy of greatness. And you weren't born to be soft. Look at the legends. Andrew Carnegie started with nothing, less than nothing. He wasn't handed opportunity. He built it with calloused hands, with brutal ambition. He didn't complain. He commanded his life to rise with him. And it did. Thomas Edison failed thousands of times before his invention ever lit a single room. People laughed, they mocked. But he wasn't chasing applause. He was chasing purpose. And purpose doesn't quit when it's tired. It only dies when you let the hunger fade. Do you feel it now? That rising heat in your chest? That's the beginning of awakening. You're not made to chase tiny wins. You're not meant to scroll, swipe, and sleep. You are designed to build, to fight, to conquer, to rise. The reason you feel dead inside is because you've been surviving off crumbs. Crumbs of fake success, crumbs of dopamine, crumbs of shallow praise from people who don't even know your name, let alone your destiny. But deep inside you, there is something ancient, something that doesn't care about likes, followers, or comfort. Something that only awakens when you commit to a life bigger than yourself. That's why you're tired. You're fighting battles that don't matter. You've been swinging your sword at shadows. When your true enemy is the part of you that forgets who you are. And I, SOCRATES, am here to remind you, you are not some lost soul waiting for permission to live. You are a weapon, forged in silence, carved by pain, and sharpened by purpose. And if you're ready, in the next breath, I will teach you how to stop existing and start leading. How to silence the noise of the world and hear the ancient roar of your inner warrior. How to take back your time, your strength, your mission, and your soul. Why do some men rise from ashes while others drown in comfort? What makes one man sprint into danger while another hides behind excuses? It's not talent. It's not luck. It's something far more dangerous. It's spiritual hunger. Let me speak truth into your bones. Truth your comfort zone has never dared to tell you. You've been taught to chase goals. Get the girl. Get the job. Get the body. Get the money. But hear me, boy. Goals without God make empty graves. Achievements without alignment lead to quiet death. And you, yes, you are not lazy. You're just disconnected from your divine reason for breathing. The world has tried to feed your hunger with fake fire, flashing screens, loud opinions, shallow wins. But it only left you feeling more lost, more numb, more hollow. That's because your soul doesn't eat that garbage. Your soul feeds on something eternal. It feeds on progress toward purpose, on pain that transforms, not distracts, on action that echoes into forever. You were made for the mountain, not the mattress. You were made to sweat, not scroll. You were made to hunt your destiny like a lion hunts its prey, with locked eyes and no hesitation. Did Theodore Roosevelt let weakness write his story? Number. He was frail, sick, and near death. But he didn't whine. He trained, he hunted, he battled, because even his broken body was no match for a woken spirit. That same fire is in you, but you have to tear down the walls you've built with laziness and lies. You have to stop worshipping comfort like it's your God. Comfort is not your friend, it's your cage. Fear is not your protector, it's your jailer. Hesitation is not safety, it's poison. And every time you delay your purpose, a piece of your soul withers. It's not too late, but it is getting late. Every moment you spend waiting, hiding, numbing, another warrior inside you dies. Another kingdom you could have built turns to dust. Another day your enemies laugh while your spirit sleeps. But not anymore, because you've heard the call now. Not a whisper, not a suggestion, a command. And I ask you, warrior, will you obey the call that pulled Moses out of the desert? The call that pushed Alexander into war before he was old enough to shave? Will you become the storm that breaks your weakness? Will you rise not as a man of comfort, but as a man of calling? What if I told you the pain you've been avoiding is the key to unlocking the man you were born to be, that the very thing you fear is your secret path to power? Listen to me, warrior. You keep trying to fix your life with comfort, when what you really need is fire. You say, I just want peace. But peace without battle is weakness wearing a smile. And peace without purpose is the slowest form of suicide. You are not broken. You are unforged. Steel is not strong until it's burned. Gold is not pure until it's melted. And you will not rise until you are willing to bleed for something greater than your fears. Stop praying for it to get easier. Start preparing for yourself to get stronger. The man you admire, the version of you that stands tall, speaks truth, leads boldly, that man is waiting on the other side of resistance. He is not found in warm beds, easy mornings and soft words. He is found in cold showers, long nights, empty gyms, heavy books, deep silence, and bold choices. That's where he lives, that's where he breathes, that's where he awakens. And you've been feeding your muscles but starving your will. You've been scrolling for hacks when you should be searching for war. Edison didn't build the light by being comfortable. He stood in dark rooms for years. He welcomed failure like a teacher, because he understood you cannot invent light until you've stood face to face with the dark. So now I ask you, what are you hiding from? What truth are you too afraid to look in the eye? Because that is your battlefield. And hear me loud. You will never conquer what you're not willing to confront. You must stop running, stop numbing, stop blaming the world, your past, your parents, your pain. Your power will only rise when your excuses fall. This war is not outside of you. It's not your job. It's not your girlfriend. It's not the world. It's you versus the version of you that gave up. You felt it, haven't you? That whisper in your chest, like a lion passing in a cage. That's not anxiety. That's not weakness. That's the warrior inside you, begging to be released. Let me tell you a truth most men will never hear. You're not tired, you're underused, you're not drained, you're disconnected from your battle. A man with no war to fight will always rot in peace. You were not created for safety. You were not built for passive living. Your bones were forged to carry weight. Your voice was made to command. Your eyes were trained by heaven to see through lies and into destiny. And yet, here you are, awake but asleep, strong but still crawling, full of fire but drowning in comfort. Why? Because somewhere along the way, you were taught to obey fear more than purpose. They told you, be careful. They told you, take the safe path. They told you, don't stand out, don't speak too loud, don't want too much. Liars. Do you think Andrew Carnegie built an empire by playing it safe? Do you think Socrates became immortal by pleasing the crowd? Number Carnegie sharpened his soul like a blade, while others stayed dull in doubt. Socrates drank the poison, but never betrayed his mission. Because real men do not fold for comfort, they burn for truth. So here is what I need you to do. Stand in front of a mirror, not to fix your hair, but to face the man you've been running from. Ask him, what am I pretending not to know? What fire have I let go cold? What dream have I buried under fear? Because buried in those answers is your divine path, and you will never feel alive until your days are stitched with obedience to that call. Action is your medicine, purpose is your food, pain is your compass. If your life feels meaningless, it's not because you've failed. It's because you've stopped listening to your spirit. Your body is not bored. Your soul is starving for obedience, intensity, and holy discipline. You want energy? Then stop feeding yourself garbage and start doing things that terrify your ego, but awaken your soul. I will give you the spiritual weapons to tear down every false identity that has kept you small, soft, and silent. But first, are you ready to stop acting like a house cat and finally roar like the caged lion you were always meant to be? What if I told you your mind has been hijacked, that there's an invisible enemy whispering lies into your thoughts every day, turning kings into cowards? Wake up, warrior. This is not a game. You're not just battling distraction. You're in a spiritual war against the voices trying to steal your focus, your fire, and your future. And let me be clear, they're not using swords, they're using silence. They want you quiet, they want you weak, they want you scrolling your life away, lost in illusions, blind to your mission. Because a man with a clear mind is dangerous. A man who knows his purpose is a weapon of God, and you were born to be that man. But first, you must slay the lies. Lie number 1, I'm just lazy. Truth, you're not lazy. You're unaligned. You're feeding your body, but not your beliefs. You're chasing goals that don't move your spirit, and wondering why you feel numb. Lie number 2, I'll do it tomorrow. Truth, tomorrow is a lie that keeps warriors in chains. You think you have time? So did the soldier who waited until the battle was at his door. Lie number 3, I'm not ready. Truth, readiness is a myth. You become ready by stepping before you feel prepared. Ask Theodore Roosevelt, who charged forward even when his heart was shattered by grief. He didn't wait to feel strong, he became strong by obeying duty. So now I give you your spiritual weapons. Weapon 1, solitude. Not loneliness, sacred silence. Sit in the dark, no music, no phone. Let the truth rise to the surface. That's where real clarity lives. Weapon 2, sacrifice. Want to feel powerful? Give something up. Comfort, sugar, social media. Anything you know is feeding weakness. Sacrifice isn't punishment, it's purification. Weapon 3, stillness in motion. Don't just move with intention. Every rep, every breath, every step, make it a prayer to your purpose. When you wield these weapons, your brain rewires itself. You stop thinking like a victim. You stop living on autopilot. You start walking like a son of fire, a builder of legacy, a general of spirit. And don't expect applause. This path isn't popular. It's lonely. It's brutal. It's holy. But it's the only path that leads to your throne. What if I told you discipline isn't a punishment? It's a portal. What if it's not the cage, but the key to setting your soul on fire? Warrior, hear me now. Discipline is not the enemy. It's the gatekeeper to your destiny. You've been told it's hard. You've been told it's boring. But I tell you, discipline is divine. It is the highest form of self-respect. It says to the world, I am not a slave to urges. I am a servant of purpose. And when you live like that, you don't need permission. You move with power. Think of Andrew Carnegie, a man who came to America with nothing but hunger in his chest. He didn't wait for motivation. He woke before the sun. He read books while others slept. He built steel empires while others chased pleasure. That kind of power doesn't come from wanting. It comes from working. And you don't build that fire overnight. You build it by winning small battles when no one's watching. You wake up when your body begs for sleep. You train when your muscles scream, rest. You choose the hard right over the easy wrong. Every time you conquer a craving, a comfort, a distraction, you don't just build willpower, you build your soul. And the beautiful truth, discipline is contagious. One victory leads to another. One representative, one journal entry, one focused hour. These are your bricks. Lay them. Because every disciplined act is a vote for the man you were born to be. And every act of laziness is a vote for the man you said you'd never become. You think you're tired? No, my brother, you're undisciplined. And that's why your spirit is starving. You don't need more time. You need a code. And here it is. Obedience over emotion. Honor over comfort. Purpose over pleasure. That is the warrior's way. That is your spiritual edge. What if the places you sit, the people you follow, and the sounds you hear are the silent thieves draining your fire while you sleep? Brother, let me open your eyes to something most men never see. Your environment is your energy. It either feeds your mission or feeds your destruction. A lion raised in a cage forgets the hunt. A warrior surrounded by weakness forgets his edge. If you stay in soft places with soft minds listening to soft lies, you will become spiritually soft. You say you're unmotivated. Maybe your soul isn't the problem. Maybe your atmosphere is poisoned. Think of Theodore Roosevelt, the man who carved his power through struggle. He didn't become strong in safety. He sought the wild, the rough, the raw. He built his body and mind in the Badlands, far from noise and distraction. Your surroundings shape your spirit. So ask yourself, who are you around? What do you let inside your ears? Where do you spend your time when no one's looking? You were not built to bloom in a swamp. You were made to rise in sacred places, where conversations cut deep, where silence sharpens thought, where challenge lives and excuses die. Your room is your temple. Clean it. Your friends are your forge. Choose warriors. Your feed is your food. Delete the garbage. Every environment is spiritual. It either calls your soul higher, or it lulls you back to sleep. Laziness isn't a habit. It's a habitat. You've been living in a comfort zone built by cowards, surrounded by noise made by quitters, and wondering why your fire won't ignite. It's time to rise. Time to move where the heat lives. Time to enter the arena and stay there until you either break or become unstoppable. Your destiny needs an atmosphere that demands your greatness, not comfort, not distraction. Demand, because your fire will never rise in a room that doesn't challenge it. On this chapter, I will reveal the final secret, the ancient law of spiritual obedience that unlocks power, men have forgotten. But right now ask yourself, am I in a place that sharpens my sword or dulls my soul? Eek. What if your power was never missing, only waiting behind the one word men today fear the most, obedience? This is the final key, the sword buried in stone, the truth men have buried under noise, pride, and excuses. Obedience is the highest form of freedom, not the obedience of slaves, but the obedience of warriors. Men who answer not to fear, not to weakness, not to comfort, but to calling, to duty, to the inner whisper that says, stand now. Brother, hear me. You weren't created for pleasure. You were formed in the image of greatness, for purpose, for pain, for war. And your soul is starving not because it's weak, but because you've trained it to obey the wrong voice. You obey comfort. You obey delay. You obey that soft voice that says, tomorrow. But what happens when you flip the order? What happens when you obey vision over urges, truth over trends, honor over habit? I'll tell you what happens. You become unstoppable. You walk like a man who's been sent. You speak like a prophet with no fear in his lungs. You move like your soul is held by fire and not feelings. Think of Edison, working 10,000 times to light the world. He obeyed his mission, not failure, not fatigue, not even the laughter of others. That is what obedience looks like. It doesn't always feel good, but it always makes you great. And here's the deeper secret. Your power will always wait behind your last act of obedience. Not your wish, not your hope, not your mood. Obedience is spiritual warfare. It is the moment you tell your emotions, you are not my master. I serve a higher voice. Men fall because they obey fear. Men rise because they obey truth. And now as this war cry comes to a close, I say this. You are not lazy. You are starving. Your soul needs more than comfort and motivation. It needs a command. So rise. Obey the whisper inside you. Return to your code. And live like you were sent from heaven with orders in your bones. This is your time, soldier. The war is real. The mission is waiting. Now go, and don't come back the same.